comfortable.
Mouthfeel.
海外の stuff.
Environment.
Are you not a big mistake?
Is there a difference between the accent you use with your friends and the one you use in a job interview?
It's not Job, it's Job. He totally sounded like an American when he said that.
Job.
So sometimes he sounds like an American.
Job.
Sometimes he sounds British.
Scottish accent.
That's a little odd.
Okay, that's interesting. So most of the people don't understand it.
It's not most of people understand it, it's most people understand it.
I have to explain that RP accent is not the accent spoken by majority of people.
Spoken by the majority of people is actually correct. Daijiro's accent sometimes sounds like an American, and sometimes it sounds either katakana or British to me. And also, there's quite a few grammar mistakes, so...
Hello everyone.
Guys, it's not hello, it's hello.
How you guys going? 皆さんご機嫌いかがでしょうか?
I've never heard anybody say how you guys going. How you guys doing? Or how's it going?
Oh, I can tell your accent already.
Small little grammar mistake here, but I can tell by your accent is actually correct. I can tell by his accent he lived in Australia, but his grammar's a little off.
You guys been in Japan for holiday or do you currently live here?
So I'm not an expert in Australian English, but to my ear it sounded like leaf here or here. Australians don't pronounce the R when they say here, but they do say here. Here, here. It may not sound like much, but here sounds really strange to my ear.
Let's start with the introduction.
Of course I understand it when Atsu says let's start with introduction, but I think it's a little more natural to say let's start with the introduction.
So if you could introduce yourself quick,
Yeah.
that would be cool.
If you could introduce yourself quickly is actually correct because quickly is an adjective.
Oh, 1 month. And then you moved to the States and lived there until...
This is where Atsu totally sounds like an Australian. States, because we say states. And of course, Australians don't pronounce the R, so states there. It's kind of cute.
So definitely you had so much exposure when you were young to English.
This is a little more complicated grammar, and of course I understood it, but exposure to English when you were young is actually the right way to do it. I think Atsu's pretty cool, and you should listen to how he studied English, but if you want to improve your English communication skills, then I recommend you watch the #1 YouTuber in this video. This next section is gonna be a doozy.
And then my whole family came back to Japan.
Right.
Japan? Sounds kind of strange to me.
And then I went to elementary school and middle school here in Japan.
Japan? That sounds like American English.
I've been living in Japan for...
I've been living in Japan is actually how you say it.
I was one of the founding members. Yeah.
Michan's intonation really sounds Californian. Founding members? It's like a melody. You gotta sing while you talk.
I was actually interested in working at a consulting company.
Working a consulting company or working at a consulting company?
I guess I have to admit, like, I was uchoten.
Code switching. If you don't know the word in English, you should just say a simpler version of what you wanted to say. Code switching すると結構 lazy な感じが
I'm very lazy, so I
Yes, code switching is really lazy, but you gotta power through it and try to find an easier way to say it.
don't want to always be like 警戒してる. So
On the alert.
yeah.
Atsu for the assist here. On the alert is okay. You can also say on edge. That's what I would say. It sounds more natural. I don't want to always be on edge for code switching either.
I think reading books could be the best way to learn a language, but
I'm gonna have to disagree here, but mimicking people is the only way that you're gonna improve your English. So let's listen to another YouTuber and see if we can get some natural native level English.
君は英語ネイティブの演技したいんですか？ぜひ海先輩の3ステップ学習法をご覧ください。文字より音、1000人より1000人、教科書より単語帳。毎日海先輩の3ステップ学習法をやれば、君でも英語ネイティブみたいに喋れるようになるぞ。
And that was the whole point. I wasn't trying to be perfect. I was just trying to communicate with them.
Native speakers usually don't say trying to, they say trying. It really sounds like Akane is trying to sound like a native speaker, eh?
So in the classroom, I really focus on creating an environment where people can make mistakes.
Environment? Environment does sound a little strange, but I do understand. I'm trying to create an environment where we do discuss mistakes so we can get better, improve, sound more natural.
I didn't experience what a lot of people go through in classrooms.
What a lot of people sounds way too slow. You gotta combine all the words together and say what a lot of people do is they say what a lot of.
I didn't have the fear of making mistakes, and that's why I could talk a lot.
tok has a very specific meaning in American English, so you should say talk. I would say Akane's English is like 95% North American English. I don't know if somebody nitpicked her English before, but she certainly has been rehearsing and practicing her English so she doesn't make mistakes. Nitpicking famous Japanese YouTube English teachers is kind of a diplomatic way to help you guys become aware of mistakes and hopefully improve upon them and actually get better.
日本の方々は違和感を覚えるかもしれませんが、英語で話すときは砕けていても丁寧
Summer's Japanese is obviously better than mine, but I'm beginning to believe that if I'm really gonna help you guys, I gotta speak more English to you. 日本語で説明しても勉強にならないんじゃない?
What's your most popular? Hold on one second. What's your most popular donut? I bet you eat them every day, right? I'm gonna do a creme brulee too. I think we're good. Yeah, I think that's good.
So in this entire list, we're finally getting into some real natural English in a natural speaking environment with real humans. This conversation is 100% natural and 100% real, so you should listen up and mimic what you hear.
GOTTA と書きますが、発音はガダ。
But I do have a problem with using katakana to explain American English pronunciation. It's not ga da, it's ga da. Summer Sensei kind of flip-flops between the two. Sometimes she says gada, and then sometimes she says gada. But you guys gotta really trust me on this. You gotta stop looking at what you see and you gotta listen to gada.
それで音声変化した of が D とつながってあらだ。
A lot of English speakers don't say each word one at a time. We kind of combine them all together and we say like a lotta. Be careful, the T sounds more like a D, that's why it's gray. And a lot of people don't even say the F, so you just say a lotta.
その次の発音ですが、You eat them every day が You eat them every day.
This is a really common pattern with them. We don't say the TH and we just say eat them. And it's not even M, it's like Did you hear them?
その a が前の one の N の音とつながって wanna. One of the Pop-Tart ones になります。
Most Americans don't say want to, we say wanna. But also, one of can also become wanna. One of the things I want to say is you really got to mimic native English speakers if you want to improve.
You はカジュアルな会話では You ではなく Ya と発音されるので Got Ya が Gotcha と発音されます。
It's not got ya, it's got ya. That's why it's pink. It's the sound, which isn't in Japanese. If you guys want to learn this California English slang, I got you. I'll help you.
And there you are, my lady. このようにたまにお店のスタッフが客さんに対してなんか愛情表現みたいな言葉を使うことがあります。特に女性のお客さんに対して。
And there you are, my lady. And there you go, ma'am. And there you go, miss. And there you go, my friend. There's a lot of ways to say it, but I don't have to explain it in Japanese. You guys just gotta listen to the phrase and know when you should say it. As far as I can tell, Summer's totally a Californian, and you should listen to her English and mimic it. I would point out that sometimes in her explanations of the pronunciation, she was kind of messing things up a little bit because she's using katakana to explain. But when she's speaking English at the donut shop, it's 100% Californian and it's 100% natural, and you should totally mimic it. Just be careful of the katakana stuff, eh?
Are you a big risk taker or are you not a big risk taker?
This is totally like a grammar error. Are you a not a big risk taker really does sound strange to my ear. Drop the A. Are you not a big risk taker?
How we're gonna handle our incomes, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Almost all Americans say gonna instead of going to, so Kevin totally does sound like an American.
Can't really
Yeah.
disclose what you're investing on,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Investing in.
Native English speakers do make mistakes when they speak, but they usually fix it as they're speaking, just like Kevin did in this instance.
Investing on,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Investing in.
Are you guys listening carefully to him?
Well, I spent a lot of time with this, just trying to be a little bit more careful with what I do with my money. So
Well, I'm kind of thinking like in English, and that means that I'm thinking in English. So when I'm thinking, it's kind of, well,
I want to put all eggs in one basket. I want to do that. But
all eggs in one basket. This is a pretty typical saying in America. If you guys want to sound like an American when you speak English, then I would put all your eggs in mimicking Americans.
what the fuck am I gonna I'm putting so much energy on making money. I'm putting so much energy on investing.
Kevin has a real problem with finishing a thought or a sentence And listening to this, it kind of sounds like he's stuttering.
I'm
It is normal for people to stutter. It doesn't mean he's not a native English speaker, but there sure is a lot of it going on.
what the fuck am I gonna, like, what am I gonna use it on?
It's totally natural to fucking cuss, but if you want to improve your English, well, it depends on the situation. If you're talking with friends, sure, use the swear words. But if you want to be more polite, I have no idea what I'm going to use it on.
No, do you never get that? Like I do. Like I get like, what am I gonna, like, when am I gonna start enjoying the fruit of this labor?
This is like 100% real American English. When am I going to start enjoying, you know, kind of like how Rupa Sensei talks? When am I going to start enjoying studying English? And if you'll notice, like, the am isn't am, it's im. When am I going to improve my English? When am I going to start sounding more like an American? As soon as you start mimicking real Americans speaking naturally. Kind of like this.
What am I gonna do?
What am I going to do sounds really unnatural. What am I gonna do totally sounds like you speak English like a normal person.
It's like I have to force myself to be a little bit more, you know, to use more money, I guess.
Kevin sure is having trouble expressing himself. It is natural to kind of search for a word while you're thinking and talking in real time. It's like I have to force myself to be more baller, more extravagant. It's like I have to force myself to be more high roller. It's like I have to force myself to be less frugal. There's a lot of ways to say the same thing, so just pick the one that's easiest to say.
But like once you realize, like, what am I doing all this for? It's like it's like you kind of lose your, like, what?
Yeah.
You kind of lose your, yeah. I don't know what he's talking about.
Work so much for, well, I'm not even gonna use it, right?
Yeah.
This one kind of shocked me when I heard it. I'm not gonna use it is totally weird. Totally sounds strange to me. But I'm not even gonna use it, or I'm not gonna even use it is totally acceptable as well. I can't even say I'm not gonna use it. It just sounds so strange.
Like I was having a conversation with someone who has a similar mindset as I am.
To be honest, this grammar mistake was kind of unbelievable. Someone with a similar mindset as I do is 100% the right way to say it. I don't know why Kevin made this grammar mistake, but it kind of sounds like he left America at an early age and now his English is kind of getting rusty.
That person was a little bit more like, was more tackling that problem more than I was.
Kevin's really struggling to get the thought out here, but let me fix it for you. That person was tackling that problem more than I was.
I mean, maybe I'll start doing like a kaisei inshokuten where like I only want customers that I want to serve.
Kaisei inshokutenって何? We don't really have that in America, so there's no direct translation, but you still gotta make an effort to find the words in English to get your point across. I even pulled out a dictionary to find out the answer. And the best translation I could come up with is a membership-only restaurant. Look, when you don't know something, just use a dictionary. And if you guys don't have a dictionary, my American English dictionary is right here.
I'm gonna fill my bathtub with cash. And then
If you have enough money to take a bath in cash, I would highly recommend getting a better mic setup and maybe a 2-camera setup, maybe a background. I mean, if you're really into YouTube and making all this money, I mean, lights would even be cool. But if you are gonna take a bath in cash, then you should film it.
When you guys greet somebody, what is your go-to greetings?
June totally sounds like a Californian, but this was a grammar mistake. What is your go-to greeting? Or what are your go-to greetings? Hey, what can I say? Native speaker make mistakes sometime.
What do you typically say when you greet somebody?
What do you typically say is way too slow. You gotta combine all the words together and say, what do you typically say? What do you typically say?
Philip, how about you? Sup? Is that something that you use or you might hear in Australia?
Don't say, how about you? Say, how about you? How about you? Look at the brown Y. That's not a Y sound, it's a ch. I think June's English is 100% Californian. How about you?
Feels a little 90s.
Gotcha.
Gotcha is 100% California slang as far as I know. If you want to sound more natural, don't say I understand. Say gotcha.
Sup was like super commonly used. And I think like when I was greeting my friends back then, I would probably say, "Sup, man?"
Super is super commonly used in California. June's English is super awesome. I hope this video becomes super popular.
What up without the S? I don't know if you guys do that or not, but that's...
Oh, I've never heard that one.
Oh, never heard of that one before. Like,
No,
what
that's
up?
a new one.
Oh, really? Oh, okay, no way.
Maybe you've heard of what's up by now, but in California, we kind of make it a little shorter and say what up. The T is gray, so it becomes a D. What up? If you're talking with friends, this is totally normal. So we finally found a YouTuber that's actually speaking natural, normal English in a real conversation with real people. June's English is 100% Californian, and June isn't doing any of that code switching and stuttering that the other YouTubers were doing as well, even though they are native English speakers. If you guys want to improve your English, then the quality of English that you listen to will really influence how you guys end up speaking. So if you guys want to improve your English, I super totally recommend June.
今回の話題はアメリカと日本のコーヒーの文化の違いについてですね。
I love coffee.
やっぱりコーヒーは毎日飲むものなんですが、国によって飲み方とかその習慣とか考え方がそれぞれ違うので、かなり刺激的なレッスンになると思うんですね。
お箸上手ですね。
刺激的な内容になると思います。
Oh, this is nice.
Wow.
Yeah, this is I knew it was going to have kind of like a mouthfeel, like kind of a dense
Mouthfeel?
a dense it was going to have like a texture to it because it's cloudy.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
this is-
yeah.
But still, well, I kind of want to put a link to this sake in like the description or something like that.
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
comment. But you know, it's funny. So we're talking about sake a lot, but today we're gonna talk about probably like the opposite of sake,
Yeah.
which is coffee and coffee culture in Japan versus America. Dunkin' Donuts is actually from my neck of the woods, from Boston.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say like so where I come from, you know, Boston. You know, they say America runs on Dunkin', and it's actually more like Boston runs on Dunkin'. Like,
Yeah.
So for me, when I imagine coffee in the United States, or
Yeah.
at least in my neck of the woods, I imagine coffee in a diner with like
Yes.
a side of pancakes.
Yes.
And you get free refills.
Yeah.
Like, that's my image of coffee in
Yeah.
America.
Damn.
Yeah, they don't. They open up later, like 9 or 8.
When
Did
it's
you know
here.
that people here drink coffee to relax? Oh yeah, so I want to ask you, so how has like your coffee drinking, I watched this video about like Starbucks on YouTube or something, and they were talking about like people doing these custom drinks where you put a pump of this syrup and a pump of this syrup, and like
Ugh.
やっぱりコーヒーは毎日飲むものなんですが、国によって飲み方とか
Well, Arthur's Japanese is totally better than mine. But seriously, guys, if listening to things in Japanese is just not going to help you improve your English.
oh, this is nice.
Wow.
Yeah, this is I knew it was going to have kind of like a mouthfeel, like kind of a dense
Mouthfeel.
A mouthfeel? It kind of feels like he's making up words, but I totally understand what he's saying. And it's not wrong to make up words. It's actually kind of creative.
But still, well, I kind of want to put a link to this sake in like the description or something like that.
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
I kind of want to put a link is way too slow. I kind of want to put a link to it is way more natural. Drop the F. Kinda. Drop the T's. Wanna. It's a gray T, so it becomes a D. I kind of want to put a link to my color system dictionary right here.
But today we're going to talk about probably like the opposite of sake,
Yeah.
which is coffee and coffee culture in Japan versus America.
Probably is the official way to say the word, but most Americans usually shorten it and it becomes probably. Drop the B and the A, probably. You'll probably sound more natural if you use probably.
Dunkin' Donuts is actually from my neck of the woods, from Boston.
Yeah.
You know, they say America runs on Dunkin', and it's actually more like Boston runs on Dunkin'. Like,
Yeah.
He's from Boston? I'm from California, and I've heard a rumor that people in Boston speak a little different than we do, so let's listen a little more to see if he has an accent.
so for me, when I imagine coffee in the United States, or
Yeah.
at least in my neck of the woods, I imagine coffee in a diner with like
Yes.
a side of pancakes.
Yes.
And you get free refills.
Yeah.
Like, that's my image of coffee in
Yeah.
America.
This is America. I kind of remember doing road trips to Arizona, so maybe it's a little different on the East Coast, but diners are totally an American thing.
Yeah, they don't. They open up later, like 9 or 8.
One thing about my accent is I don't say 8. I say 8. You drop the T and replace it with a glottal stop. 8.
Did you know that people here drink coffee to relax?
Did you know a lot of Americans don't say did you, they say did you?
Oh yeah, so I want to ask you, so how has like your coffee drinking...
This was totally like a Boston accent to my ear. He didn't say I wanted to ask you, he said I wanted to ask you.
Oh yeah, so I want to ask you, so...
It totally sounds East Coast to me, and I can't even say it. So if you want to sound more East Coast when you speak English, then you should probably listen to Arthur.
I watched this video about like Starbucks on YouTube or something, and they were talking about...
Of course you can say or something, but most native speakers kind of drop the O and it becomes or something.
Like people doing these custom drinks where you put a pump of this syrup and a pump of this syrup, and like...
This is something else that totally sounds like a Boston accent to me. I say syrup. Drop the Y, syrup. But Arthur just said syrup.
Pump of this syrup.
See, I would never say syrup. I even looked this up online, and apparently in Boston, they totally say syrup. Syrup. It kind of sounds like I've heard that in a movie or something, but I've never really heard it in reality. So just like June, Arthur is totally an American speaking 100% natural English. But unlike Kevin and Michan, Arthur is speaking without any code switching. He's not stuttering, and he's having a real deep conversation with another native English speaker.
現実で英語ネイティブと喋りながらわからない単語があれば、ぜひカイ先輩の無料の辞書を使ってくださいね。Aura English HD。英辞書、和英辞書だし、簡単にフラッシュカード作れるから、たっぷり英語の勉強の復習できます。
I have some friends with me here today. You're born and raised in Shimane?
Yep, Shimane native.
So yeah, no excuses. And a lot of people, I think, a lot of you guys watching probably think that. Like, English just sounds cool, or like, you know, you like American culture. So I think at the start line, you know, you guys are very similar to everyone starting to learn English. But here you are. Why were you able to continue learning? Was it just fun? Did you find English fun from the beginning? Salmon, like the fish. I mean, what do you talk about? What do you talk about? Well, do you ever get stuck like looking like everything up and you're not getting anywhere? And you have encouragement, and then you talk to yourselves a lot. I mean, that's something you can do like anywhere, right? Talking to yourself.
Anywhere.
What are some other things maybe that you've done? And I think once you start understanding and learning in English, you probably learn a lot faster and a lot more.
Right.
Because that's what I see with Pudding. Like, she learns English through English. If there's a word she doesn't know in a sentence, she'll ask me, what does that mean? Maybe that's the key. Because they didn't use textbooks. But you guys probably are like ear people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Auditory. And that's a lot of listening too, right? You listening to mimicking. Because a lot of people go through the same schooling you guys did. So you're more comfortable in Japanese, but you can actually be more yourself in English.
Yeah.
And, you know, a lot of you guys say, like, oh, yeah, I want to speak like you, Chika-chan, I want to be like you. But it's, like, really them that you want to be like because, you know, they grew up in Japan and they, you know, started out speaking Japanese dominantly, and then through their own, like, motivation and hard work and persistence, they speak English so fluently. It's amazing. I have some friends with me here today.
Chika's intonation is totally American. Now remember, intonation is like a melody, so you're singing while you're speaking. I have some friends with me here today. Do you hear the melody?
You're born and raised in Shimane?
Yep, Shimane native.
So yeah, no excuses.
No excuses, no blaming others. If you're a human with ears, you can totally sound more like a native English speaker.
And a lot of people, I think, a lot of you guys watching probably think that. Like, English just sounds cool, or like, you know, you like American culture.
A lot of you guys want to sound American, so use a lotta. Careful, the T is gray, so it's a D sound. A lotta.
So I think at the start line, you know, you guys are very similar to everyone starting to learn English. But here you are.
At the start line, from the start, fundamentally, from the get-go, that's my favorite, from the beginning.
Why were you able to continue learning? Was it just fun? Did you find English fun from the beginning?
Did you is way too textbook. Did you is 100% natural American English.
Salmon, like the fish.
This word is really hard for Japanese people to say. A is sa. L is just invisible. You don't even say it. O isn't an O, it's an in. Salmon. Are you guys curious about my color system? Download my free American English color system dictionary right here.
I mean, what do you talk about? What do you talk about?
What do you talk about is really like educational English. What do you talk about is 100% natural. What do you listen to when you study English?
And you have encouragement, and then you talk to yourselves a lot. I mean, that's something you can do like anywhere, right? Talking to yourself.
Talking to yourself in English is something you can do right now.
And I think once you start understanding and learning in English, you probably learn a lot faster and a lot more.
Right.
I really like this video. She's really giving you guys some good tips here. If you've been studying English for over a year, you gotta graduate from Japanese and you just gotta stick to English.
Because that's what I see with Pudding. Like she learns English through English. If there's a word she doesn't know in a sentence, she'll ask me, what does that mean?
日本語でなんて言うのじゃなくて just stay in English. If somebody says something that you don't understand, then just say, what does that mean? And use a dictionary. There's a free one available right here.
Maybe that's the key. Because they didn't use textbooks.
This is seriously the #1 reason why most of you aren't improving. You're looking at English instead of listening to English. You can use textbooks for the first year of your studies, but after that, you really got to start listening to people.
But you guys probably are like ear people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Auditory.
When it comes to learning language, there is no such thing as a visual learner. All language is literally sound. It's literally invisible and you can't see it. Everybody has to listen to auditory sounds if they're going to be able to speak a language.
And that's a lot of listening too, right? You listening to mimicking.
Don't read it. Don't write it. You gotta listen. You gotta mimic.
Because a lot of people go through the same schooling you guys did.
Same school, same books, same culture, same DNA. These 3 people have the same exact background as most of you guys. So if they can do it, you can do it. Listen to real English native speakers speaking naturally and just mimic and practice it.
So you're more comfortable in Japanese, but you can actually be more yourself in English.
Yeah.
If you look at this word, it looks like comfortable, but most native speakers say comfortable. A actually becomes an R sound. Comf. English gets more comfortable the more you use it.
And you know, a lot of you guys say like, oh yeah, I want to speak like you, Chika-chan, I want to be like you. But it's like really them that you want to be like because, you know, they grew up in Japan and they, you know, started out speaking Japanese dominantly and then through their own like motivation and hard work and persistence, they speak English so fluently. It's amazing.
I'm kind of going to disagree with Chika right here because you actually should speak like Chika does. You should listen to her English and you should mimic it 100%. But you should also be like these 3 guys here because of how they studied. The secret to their success was they mimicked native speakers. So be like them and mimic native English speakers like Chika or like myself. This is definitely one of the best videos I've seen so far on how to learn English. And this is why Chika is definitely the #1 YouTuber teaching English to Japanese people. Her pronunciation and intonation are perfect. She uses a lot of natural slang and she provides a lot of videos that give you good tips to encourage you to improve your English and sound more like a native American speaking person too. And if you guys want to sound like an American when you speak English, check out this video right here.